Welcome to Shepherd's Coffee Talk. Many of us, we hear from you, are changing their direction in life, starting all over, starting again, a third chapter. I have a very good friend, good friend, Judith Yaworski. Actually, is the mother, is the godmother, almost the godmother of my daughter.
Well, your husband's so cute, I wouldn't mind being her daughter.
I need to check the DNA on that. No, I have a scar to prove it.
What she means is that Judith is the godmother of Marlene's daughter, Rachel. That's what she really means. And Judith has been a friend of both of ours for many, many years. And we've watched really a blossoming in so many ways. I first met Judith when you had your communications company. So that must have been interesting at that time too, to be a solo entrepreneur, trying to find your voice in Ottawa in communications. That's a challenge on its own.
Right, and I remember about 35 years ago, we started the Women's Business Network.
Yes.
And at that time, I mean, there weren't that many female business owners.
Right.
And I think what was great about that is that we could talk to each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, because you couldn't go and talk to your banker because it was a guy, you know, and the accountant, and they kind of pat you on the head.
Right.
And what was great, and it isn't amazing, 35 years later, so many of us are still good friends.
Yes.
Because we bonded over that.
Yes.
And you know, one of the things I love about Meghan Markle, Prince Harry's wife, is that she's talking, you know, and encouraging women to help each other. You know,
We're better collaborators than we are competitors. That's really what women's skill is. We're good collaborators. When we get into the competition, that's when we kind of, things fall apart because that's not in our nature. So the communications business, that sort of shifted out, right?
it shifted out, and yet it's still here. Now I'm a realtor.
Yeah.
Once you are a communicator, always a communicator. As an example, I just helped some phenomenal cancer researchers find a very specialized laboratory. And they would have had to move out of Ottawa if they didn't get this, and they're world-class researchers. But then they said to me, well, we'd like you to help us with our communications. So it's what it is bringing people together. Well, you know, Kathy, you've been a radio and TV personality, and now you're just using that experience and branching out into something else.
Transferable skills, we like to call it. Yes, and this is such a key piece that you've mentioned, that because we wanted to talk about, you know, real estate's a big ocean of people.
And very competitive.
Very competitive, and you have to find your thing in that choir of real estate people. So how did you choose what area you wanted to focus on? And clearly communication is one of your key skills, but is there a certain area you focus on, and how did you come to that?
No, there isn't. You just take whatever business you can because it is competitive. But I always say I deal with people, not properties. Everybody who is either buying or selling has a story, like the cancer researchers or a first-time home buyer. And because I've been around and I was a teacher and I'm still...
And a weather girl.
And
yes,
a weather
she was a
lady.
weather personality. Yes.
On TV.
Still a personality, by
Oh,
the way.
yeah. I find that you focus in on the people, not the property. You know, first-time home buyers, they were so scared. They said, oh, we're so scared.
Yeah.
And I just held their hand. And a woman who lost her husband after 55 years, and she was going to sell her home, and she had to start on a new adventure. It was a new adventure in life. Absolutely amazing. So I've been helping her going out shopping for new furniture and paintings.
That's awesome.
But that's lovely.
And talk about, was that the same family where the son and you were working together? And you said we're all family here on this?
Oh, yeah. We're sitting around, he was an accountant, and his mother was going to sell her house, and he was really hammering me, you know, for information. How many houses have you sold and all this? And I just kind of took his hand and said, you know, my dear, until I sell your mother's house, I'm her daughter, and you're my brother. I treat her like she's my mother. And I'll never forget when my mother's 101 now.
Bless her heart.
In Windsor, Ontario, and this is before I got into the real estate business, and there was this absolutely amazing realtor, And I interviewed 3 of them, and the only one who didn't talk down to my mother was the one that I chose.
Yeah, right.
Because
yeah.
she treated her like her grandmother.
Yeah.
And she had just lost her grandmother. She said, may I give you a hug? And her name is Beth Yarowski, by the way, from Royal LePage in Windsor, Ontario. If you need a good agent, she's phenomenal.
But I mean, that is your strength and,
Yeah.
and your beauty, Judith, is that you have so many friends that you nurture, that you
Yeah.
always look after
Yeah.
all your life. I've known you for many years. Judith had a cancer
Yeah.
diagnosis and had breast cancer.
Yep.
And there were so many people there to help Judith. We had to sign in for hours to look after her. It was scheduled.
wow.
That's just how many people and lives that you have
That's
helped.
we
because
had a-
everybody loved her.
We had a lot of fun.
Tell us about that journey.
Yeah.
Well, you
that's
know,
only
it's,
recently.
It's very interesting. It was a couple of years ago, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I remember coming into Shepherd's with our good friend Linda French, because I wanted to treat myself before I had my breast chopped off, you know? And I'm in the dressing room, and I'm looking at Linda, and I said, oh, Linda, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. And then, you know, I went home. Of course, I had to buy something which made me feel much better.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, retail therapy. And then I called one of my colleagues at Royal LePage, and she had just gone through this. And I told her, I'm so scared. I'm starting my chemo in 2 days. And she dropped everything. See, the Women's Network,
Yeah,
okay?
that's
She
it.
dropped everything, and she came over. I said, well, no, I'll come to you. She said, no, I'm coming to you. And after she told me, she talked me through it. I wasn't afraid anymore. I
Yeah.
went into this, you know. So I looked up this morning the quote, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Right.
And that was Roosevelt in his 1933 inaugural address. So I was afraid, but the moment that was calmed down, I could handle stuff.
Right.
And you know, I had a client when I ran my advertising agency, a big retailer, and I'll never forget, he said to me, you know, I'm not afraid of going under, because if I do, I'll start again knowing so much more than I did when I first started.
Right.
Now, is that phenomenal? I remember that and remember that. And you know, we talk about transitioning. Well, Kathy, look at how you've beautifully transitioned from, you know, being radio TV personality into the work that you do, where you're
Thank you.
inspiring people and you're so perky, so positive. Perky. She is perky,
I know,
ladies
can't
and
help it.
gentlemen.
It's just in my DNA.
Even at this early in the morning, she
Hey,
is
Judith,
perky.
people often talk about, you know, after they've been through their treatment with cancer and, you know, get back onto a track and living their life again, reviewing and looking back in the rearview mirror. Is there a lesson you learned from that experience that you could share with us? Aside from don't fear fear itself, don't let that stop
Well,
you.
first of all, don't look back. I mean, I even hesitate to talk about it because I don't want to talk about it.
It's past.
And, you know, people, when they hear the word cancer, they go, oh, and I could count on my fingers and toes the number of people who have said, oh, poor you. I said, no, it's just another disease. And don't, ladies and gentlemen, do not be afraid of it. Do not be afraid of it. And take it one step at a time. So I focused, first of all, on the operation. Okay?
Right.
Okay. I didn't even think of chemo. I just focused on the operation. Gee, it wasn't bad at all. I mean, I went and got all these barf bags and everything because I thought I'd be vomiting all over the place. No. I mean,
You were good.
Oh, you handled it
they're
amazingly.
they're still there.
It was
and
inspirational.
then you focus, on, okay,
next
I've got to
step.
do the chemo. Okay, that's fine. Then I got to do this. So don't get overwhelmed by it. Take it a step at a time and calm down. It's not a big thing. So many of us live many years after. I had an aunt who had breast cancer when she was 50 and she lived to 99.
Well, and the thing is,
Okay.
too, I mean, we need to share, and you said it so beautifully, share with someone who has the experience that can help you rather than sharing with people who don't have any touch points. That's just going to exacerbate your fear. You want to calm the fear down. It's really important, and it's a brilliant lesson to share, because even looking back, you can say, well, I managed that and I did it one step at a time instead of getting overwhelmed. I think that's great.
Well, and I'm more than welcome. If anybody is going through this, please don't hesitate to call me, because that's what we need to do. We have to just stick together.
There she goes again.
See?
Well, and
She
unless-
was helping, that's what she always
No, but look at the people who helped me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just blown away by my colleagues saying, no, I'm coming to your house. You stay there.
You're between 3 and 5. That was my allotted time on a Friday, 3 and 5. Can I come again? Well, no, I'm sorry. There's others.
But
It's
I
good to
got to
be
tell
loved.
you, I came out of the operation, and who's standing over me but Marlene?
Well,
Yeah.
And
As many were.
And I was eating the chicken soup
Yes.
that my friend Sue Cohen had
Love.
made, and I said, take a picture of me with the, and so she knows, and then my other friend Carolyn Malboff came, so it was a team.
that's what we do. That's how we roll. That's who we are as women. It's so brilliant. And thank you so much for sharing your lessons and your story and your experience. We wish you many, 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 many more,
Thank you
many
for
more
your
Thank
years
you
of
very much. Thank
goodness.
you.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Have a great day.